Hello, good day, my people. My name is Tip Code. Welcome back to this Python course. So, in our last episode, we talked about Python basic command. We learned about how to use the print statement to print text to the screen. Also, learned about how to comment our code, how to document our codes, how to use the special characters to format our codes. So, in this episode, we'll be talking about variables. Variables in Python are very useful in each part of your program that you're writing. We'll be manipulating your objects or your values with the use of variables. We talk about what variables are, the scope of variables, the naming conventions, and the efficient use of variables. Please, if this is your first time of watching this tutorial, please kindly subscribe and don't forget to like. If you have any comments, please ask me in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer your question. So what are variables? Variables are names given to values in a program. Variables are used to store and manipulate data in your program. We create variables to store data so that we can later use variables to manipulate the data that are storing in them. Okay, think of a variable as a label box or a container where you can store a value in a program. In every programming language, you have naming conventions that you have to follow when giving names to your variable. A variable must have a unique name. It must start with a letter or underscore. Variable cannot start with numeric value. A variable should not include any special characters like exclamation mark, the @sign, $sign, or any special character that you can think of. So this is a name of a person and the variable here has created. We cannot start it with any number, 1, 2, or special character. We can't start it. It must be a letter. One thing you have to also take note when giving names to your variable, make sure that the names that you give to your variables are descriptive. They indicate the purpose of the variables that you are creating in your program. As you are advancing in your programming, you will be working with other developers. So with this standard naming convention, each programmer is expected to follow that. So if you master all these things, when you work with other programmers, you will not have difficulty in communicating with them or working with them. It also makes your program readable. So any developer that takes your program will be able to understand your codes. Python is dynamically typed, which means when you create a variable to store a data, you don't necessarily need to indicate the data type that particular variable is storing. As soon as you declare a variable and assign a value to it, a variable is created in Python, and the data or the value that you assign to that particular variable will automatically be detected by the interpreter, the data type that variable is, or the data type that variable is storing. So I've created a variable to store my name Tip Code. I can print my name using the variable. So print my name. To run your program for the first time, go to the terminal, then make sure you're in the same directory, Python tutorials. Yes, Python tutorial here, and type this command, Python, then the name of your file. So the name of my file is variables.py. So that is what I'm running here. So Tip Code, it has executed the code Tip Code for me. The next thing you have to take note of is the naming style. We have so many naming styles that you can think of, but Python, in most cases, we use the snake case when giving names to variables and functions, and the Pascal case when giving names to class names. Let me explain by giving an example. The snake case is when you have to create a name of a variable that contains maybe 2 or more words. You use underscore to separate them, but each word should be in lowercase, and that is, let's say, my name. My name is called Ima. So this is the snake case. Mostly in Python we use this. We use all caps to store constant values. So let's say a value that you would not like to change, and you want to save it at. So if you declare the name of a variable like this, if a programmer takes it, the person will know that this particular value that this variable is storing is a constant, so I don't have to change it. And the Pascal case is this, say, class name. So this is the Pascal case. We use in each letter of each word start with a capital letter. Let's create some variables and play with them. So I'll create a variable to store my age equal to 45, my height is equal to 3.5. Okay, then I want to print my name is Tip Code. I am 45 years old and I am 3.5 meters tall. So how do I do this? Print My name is Step Code. This is what I have done. So if I want to print my name is Step Code. Okay, my name is Step Code. What I've done here, I'm actually concatenating two strings together. This name here is storing Step Code. So if I want to use Step Code, then I have to use the variable. All the properties in this value is stored here. So I can efficiently manipulate this one by using the variable called name. Okay, so that is what I'm doing. But I cannot just print it this way and run. Python will give me error, or if I bring it here, I cannot bring it here. If I bring it here, my name is name, then it's going to interpret it as a string. Okay, so for me not to get an error, I'll just concatenate it so that Python will know that this is a variable that I'm dealing with. So my name is Step Code. If I want to include the other one, so I'll also concatenate them. Age plus I am 8 years old. Let's run it and see what we will get. So that Python, then my name is Step Code. I am 45 years old. So I want to print this. Let's run it again. My name is Step Code. I am 45 years old. We see that the 45 and years are merged together here. What I will do is just to give a space here and run it. We can actually achieve the same thing by using the fstring function to print. So this fstring function actually allows us to embed objects or variables in strings. My name is Step Code. I'm 45. So you can see that we are achieving the same thing here. You can add the height there, and I am height years tall. Let's run it and see. My name is Step Code. I am 45 years old and I am 3.5 meters tall. I think this is cool. This allows you to embed functions, objects, or variables in a string. It's very powerful when you want to manipulate objects with strings. So let's write a simple program that will take three numbers from the user, then add and find the average of those numbers. You can comment it by highlight the section that you want to comment, then you press Ctrl+/. So first of all, we have to create three variables that we can take the numbers from the user. Then we find the average by adding the three numbers together and dividing it by 3. So let's go ahead. So we create our first variable, num1. We call input. We use the input function to take input from users. The input function, this is the function that we use to take input from the user. So you type input and bring parentheses. Inside the parentheses, you type the prompt that you want to give to the user, or the message that you want to tell the user before you take the input. So let's say enter the first number, enter the second number. We need to take three numbers, so I'll just do the same thing here. So this will be num3, third number. So we have taken the input from the user. Let's run it and see. Enter the first number, enter the second number, third number. Yes, it has taken the numbers, but we have not instructed the computer to do anything on those numbers that we have taken. So let's tell it to do it now. So we have to create a variable that will store the average that it will calculate before we can print it out for the user to see. So let's create a variable called average. So this is a variable where we are going to store the actual average of the three numbers that we are to calculate. This is what we do. Num1. So num3, we know that is the average of the three numbers with the sum of all the three numbers divided by 3. Okay, divided by 3, then we print the average. So the average of the three numbers is, so this is what I'm going to do. Okay, we can see that Python is underlying this particular line of code. Why is this so? This is because any input that we take from the user through the console is interpreted as a string. It reads as a string, like a text. So for you to use it to perform a mathematical calculation, then you have to convert it to maybe a data type that you can use it to perform mathematical calculation, integer or floating point data type. We talk about data type in our next episode, but let's run our program and see the error that it will give to us. The first number, second number, third number. So let's check the error type. Always take note of the error type. Come down and see the error type. This type error, unsupported operand types for string and int, meaning we are using string together with integer to perform calculation, which is not possible. So we have to convert the string to a numeric data type so that we can use it to perform that computation. So what do we do here? We convert this to integer. We can convert it to an integer by using the int function. This is a function that we use to convert a number to an integer. An integer is a whole number without a decimal point. Any number you can think of without a decimal point, either positive or negative. So we convert it, we do the same thing here. Go ahead and do the same thing here. Then you print. So let's run our program and see. So the average is 3.0, yes, but our program is limited. Our program can only find the average of only integer numbers. It cannot find the average of floating point numbers. Let's try it and see. So 3.2.3. So you see that it's giving us error, value error. The value that we are taking is different from what we have instructed the line of code here. This is supposed to be integer, but here we are taking a floating point number, so we have to convert this one to a floating point before we can take a floating point number. So it's always good to always cast your numbers in a floating point format so that you can take both integer and floating point numbers. So when you know that any value that you're going to take, it will be a numerical value that you'll be using to do your computation. Always use the float, because the float will allow you to take both integer and decimal numbers. So I'll do the same thing here. The average of the three numbers is 3.677. So we can run this number. We can run this number by using the run function. So I want to run this number to 3 decimal. Use the run function. Average. So the first parameter will be the number that you want to run. The second parameter will be the number of decimal points that you want it to run up. So I want to run the average. What I will take here, that will be average. Then you bring comma 3 decimal. So I'm running the number and storing it back to the same variable. The number that I'll take here, I'm to run it and store it back in Python. This is possible. You can reassign it to the same variable. So let's run it. See, I'm putting the same values there, 2.345. So that is it. The next thing that we'll be talking about is scope of a variable. The scope of a variable simply means where you can use a particular variable. When you declare a variable in your program, it doesn't mean that you can use it in every part of your program. The place in which you declare that variable will determine where that variable can be accessible in other parts of your program. So assuming if you declare a variable on top of your program, anywhere below, you can use it below. But if you declare a variable that is inside a class, meaning the scope of that variable is limited to that particular class, it cannot be accessed outside that class. So it's good. If you also declare a variable below, you cannot use it on top. Let me say I'll create a variable called student, called type code name. Let's see name. So my name is type code. This is the variable that I've created. If I print my name, here, you see that they are giving the error message. Let me go here and read the error message. My name is not declared. So let's run the program and see the proper error message. Let me comment this code. Press Ctrl plus / to comment it. Then let's run the program again and see we have an error. My name is not defined, but we have my name defined here. This is because the scope of this variable can only be accessed below. So if I bring this, if I print it down here, it is accessible here. So take note of that. Finally, you have to keep track of the name that you give to your variable. Python is case sensitive. This means I've created a variable called my name. So the way I've named the variable here, I'm supposed to use the same thing here. I cannot change this to capital letter. If I print it, I'll get an error. They'll tell me that my name. My name is not defined. Did you mean my name? Even though they are the same words, but it's different. So any way you name your variable, you have to keep track of it. So that's why it's very important that you let the names that you give to your variables be descriptive. You will not cause a lot of errors in your program. But if I change this to my name, then it will come. So guys, that is it for this episode. Thank you for watching. If this video is helpful, please help me by liking. If you have any question that you want to ask, you can reach out to me in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer all your questions. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, kindly help me by subscribing for more Python tutorials. The next episode we'll be talking about data types. See you in the next episode.